and hygiene. So after Miss Uganda, obviously, when you enter this with your passion, you don't want it to die. So that's why I decided I want to birth my foundation to carry on the same exact project that I was doing in Miss Uganda. So we're doing exactly the same thing with the Oliver Foundation, Oliver Nakakandde Foundation.
But was that during your time, your reigning time, or that was after?
After.
Thank you for watching and subscribe on my channel.
You have so much going on around you.
Yeah.
Around you. You have your
Today we're
really tight.
gonna listen to the former Miss Uganda as she explaining to us how she was,
I always pray
how
to
she
be put in positions where I
escaped
should be more productive. And I feel like
sacrifice
personally I'm also not a very
in a
okay
certain
person to be in
country.
one place or focusing on one thing. So I love to do this and do that. So Uganda is my home. You know, living in Dubai, I feel like I can't put all my passions there in terms of my projects. I have to always come back and, you know, do my projects. So I find time to come back, and I also have a team here. You know, I have George and the rest of the team at my foundation, so they run activities while I'm away. Yeah.
Okay. Now, Oliver, let's come back to your turning point.
Right.
So recently, I was, going through my socials, and I somehow bumped into your story. How your soul
This is a video
gone. And how you had to, literally, or in a nutshell, I must say, your turning point. I don't even know the right words to describe it, because I would really love to describe it, but I feel I'm probably not in the best place to do so. So I just want you to, share with us here on GXP and everyone watching us, what was your turning point? What happened? I mean, from, the party girl, I'm seeing scriptures, I'm seeing motivational, messages, but backed with scriptures, and then boom, a story. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Well, are you ready for the whole story? Because it's a long story. I'm gonna cut it short.
Okay, I'm ready. I can't wait.
What really happened? Where do I start from? Do you want the whole story?
You can take us through.
Okay. It was. Oh my God. That was a huge turning point, like you said, and I didn't see it coming. You know, as a Christian, like all these 11 years, I believed in God and spirituality and all this stuff, but I never, like in my life, I had never experienced the power of God, like firsthand. I mean, daily we move by the grace of God, we experience the power of God, but we ignore it. But when it's kind of like hits you and you're carried away in the spiritual realm, that is now what happened to me. So I got, very unfortunate, but fortunately, fed on the table of the enemy through my friends, who I thought, were my friends. They invite me in their home and they offer me this tea, which I supposedly thought it was tea, yet it wasn't actually tea. So that drink directly gave me access to hell, or to a spiritual realm. So I started, hallucinating, seeing things. And my mind, I was like, what is going on? Every time I close my eyes, I'm seeing weird creatures, snakes. I knew immediately, as a Christian, this is not right. Whatever I'm seeing is not right. I knew that whatever I drank was evil. So it went to a second process where I was taken into negotiations, where they showed me so many beautiful things: money, luxury items, cars, fancy cars, you name it, and lifestyles. I saw myself shopping super luxury brands. Like, there is a way the devil was kind of like showing these things on the screen, and then at the back of those things, then God was showing me the darkness behind those things. And I don't know how to explain this, because before I used to hear people say, God spoke to me, and I'm like, did God come to sit there and speak to you? Like, how did you hear God? I heard God. I saw God. Like, he was literally there showing me the darkness. Like, if I dare say yes to these things, I was ready to fall into that darkness. So God warned me, and the devil continued showing me. And at every end of a slide, I could be asked yes or no, right? So Yeah, I could be asked yes or no. So, and then I was like, everything was beautiful. So I was like, wow, 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 wow. And at the end, I'm like, no. My spirit said no. And we do it again. And again, more luxury, more money, more cars, more beautiful things. And I'm like, wow. You know, the crazy part is I was awake. This was not a dream. I was eyes awake. My body was laying down, and I would see all the things clearly with my eyes open. So we had many, many rounds of that, and still my spirit said no, because God was showing me the signs, behind those things. So it went on and on and on until I asked God to take me out of that position, because the position that I was in, I was very, very dizzy, and I felt like I needed to throw up, not just normal throw up. I felt like I needed to throw up from intestines out. So it was really, really bad. So I thank God in that moment. By the way, before I called on God, I mentioned, as an expression, like, oh my God, but the word God was not acceptable in that place. I was not allowed to say God in that place. So every time I tried to say God, one of my hosts would crash the word God. And I could see, and I'm like, that is so strange. That is so strange. Like, I would say, oh my, I would fight to say God. So when I saw that, I knew this is the name that I'm going to call on to get me out of this, because this name is not allowed here, and I believe in God. So I called on God, and I said, God, please take me out of this situation. Let me get up from this place. Give me the strength to rise up and walk out of this place. And God told me in that moment that everything that was happening to me was delusional, and I had the control over it if I really truly believed in Him. So I said, okay, I believe in God. Let me try to get up. The first time I failed completely.
Meanwhile, where were you? Still at your friend's place?
Yes, I was still at their place. I was in the couch laying down. Yeah, so failed completely for the first time. Second time I said, God, please, please, please help me. God said,
Guys,
this is your final chance right now. Get up right now and get out of that place. That urge of throwing up, you can control that urge. So this time I really, truly believed in God. I went through real tests. God was really testing me. So I remember I had my phone right there on the floor and my bag. I reached out for my bag. I got up and I was like, oh, I didn't throw up. I feel okay, right? I got my bag. The moment I reached out for my bag, these people had something that I thought was a cat in the house. This thing was not a cat. This thing was not a cat. It was some weird animal which was so big, which then attacked me physically and tried to steal my bag away from me. Later on, I found out that thing was supposedly the security of that place, and I was not allowed to leave.
I mean, this is all physical.
Physical. I'm not dreaming. I am not dreaming.
And you can't describe what this animal was.
I cannot. But it was not a cat. It was a big animal, at least like the size of a dog. That can come and attack you. It had so much strength to take away my bag. I fought with this thing, but the voice of God kept telling me, continue moving and fighting toward the door. The door was right there, very close. But for me to move a small distance, it was a tug of war. So meanwhile, my hosts knew very well that I think they believed so much that any soul that enters this place, any soul that gets to drink that drink, the devil's drink, cannot escape this room. So they had so much faith. And yet now me, I'm fighting, I'm calling on my God, and I'm believing. So then I go and fight, and then I'm at the door. I managed to get at the door, and eventually I unlocked the door, but I didn't have the strength to actually open the door. And then I remember God now visiting me the other time and saying, pull the door open. I could not. So the guy, when they saw that I was now at the door, he came and was like, hey, where are you going? Come on, stay here with us. Da, da, da. God told me. You know what the guy did? He locked the door again. So God came back and said, unlock this door and get out right now. And this time he was not really happy because I was not listening to him. So I listened to God. I opened the door and I ran. The moment I stepped my feet out, I regained my strength, you know. I was sore before, as if someone hit me with a hammer, like throughout my joints. But the moment I believed that God would take me out of that situation, I regained my strength and I ran. I got out of the fence and into the main road. And when I got into the main road, so many strange things happened. First of all, that night was the night of the full moon. And then I remember that these guys, when I first came into the house, they asked me about my birthday. I don't know why would someone ask randomly. Actually, my soul said no, I didn't answer them.